Welcome back to the On the Slab Horror Show, the show that we bring to you each and every Friday night. Why we do this on a Friday night? Because Friday night is horror night. And this is actor, producer, director, and co-founder of Fuzz on the Lens, Michael Leavy. How are you, sir?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me on this Friday evening, and I'm excited to be here with you and chat some horror.
Absolutely. I appreciate you taking time out of your day for coming on. For folks that don't know, Fuzz on the Lens is a name that's become widely huge in horror due to just these small movies called Terrifier 1 and 2, Stream, and former guests on the show, Gary Smart and John Campopolato. Sorry, John, butchered it again. Who done the Pennywise documentary. Fuzz on the Lens had a big part in all of those. So it's only just an amazing company at the minute. But you're co-founder of that.
Yeah, thank you so much. Means a lot. And yeah, we worked with those guys on the Pennywise Story of It documentary, also the Robert Englund documentary. Really love collaborating with them. Obviously, as you mentioned, the Terrifier franchise, and now Stream. Where a lot of us are really passionate and love horror movies, and so we're lucky and fortunate enough to be making them. But we love all movies in general. There's no genre that we would never that we would shy away from. But right now, we're sticking with what we really truly love and what our passion is, and that's horror films.
Well, at this stage at the cinema at the minute, like horror is making such a resurgence. So you go to that well as much as you can and keep it
Yeah,
coming because we
I
need
love
it.
it. Yeah, I love it. I'm so happy that horror has found its stride again, and they're the only guarantees that people are going to go see them in the movies, which is so awesome because it's not many people are going to the theaters and the cinemas anymore, but horror turns them out, and that's really cool. And yeah, it's just fun to be a part of things that people are excited about.
Yeah, you just mentioned there before we get into any of the main franchises. I didn't realize you were part of the Robert Englund story. So I was going to say that it was the second best documentary film that I'd seen. With it was the best up until I'd watched Hollywood Nightmares. Um, but the two of those were just absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you. Yeah, they do great work. Gary, John, Chris, and that whole team, and Mike, and just happy to be a part of it and help them out, and produce it in any way that we can, we could, and definitely two projects that I'm proud to have my name attached to.
Yeah, like I said when we done the episode on the Nightmare on Elm, or the Robert Englund one, I said he's probably the last great horror star.
Yeah,
Um, and like he got his Walk of Fame this year, which was probably 20 years overdue.
for sure.
Um, but like the man, like everyone's like, oh, he only done this. No, like, the man's a phenomenal actor, and like he churned it out. But the funny one we had, I was telling John when we done it, we were watching Stranger Things, me and the wife, and when he starts talking in season 4, and I was like, oh my god, because I didn't look at anything about it, didn't know he was in it. And when he started talking, I was like, oh my god. And she's like, what? And I was like, do you know who that is? And she's like, no, there's no one on the screen. And I was like, I know who that is.
Yeah.
And I was like,
He's got such a distinct voice and presence about him, and yeah, I was so happy to hear that he was a part of that as well. I got to work with him aside from the obviously producing the doc on a movie called Fear Clinic, where I got to play the younger version of him.
is that the one
Um,
with Lin Shay?
no, that was
Oh, that's Midnight Man, isn't it?
yeah, that was the one with Fiona Dourif and Corey Taylor from Slipknot.
Oh, yes,
And
yes.
yeah, and I got to play the younger version of Robert Englund, and I also got to play a variation of his character Black, which was like fear incarnate. So that was really cool to get to work with him on that project and see him work and see how he operates, and it was definitely a moment of my life I'll cherish forever and never forget.
Well, that's working with one of the true great iconic actors, really. And whether people want to admit it or not about horror, there's this whole thing. It's only a horror movie. It's still one of the most iconic characters ever created,
Hmm.
like ever. Like
Hmm.
no horror star being what the character was supposed to be, obviously movie wise, not Robert in general, but like no way that character should have blown up the way it did.
Right, and it transcended horror. Even like people outside when he made his way into pop culture,
Yeah,
Freddy Krueger. So even people outside of horror, even if you've never seen A Nightmare on Elm Street,
you know the name.
You know Freddy Krueger. You know who he is. You know what he looks like. You know how he sounds. And it's just has been ingrained in society, and that just goes to show you. And again, yeah, it was the first time, and again, it hasn't really happened since, where he just kind of again was just unilaterally cultural and in every part of the world, and doing infomercials and doing toy commercials and doing hotlines, and it really was incredible what had happened with Robert and that character.
Yeah,
International fame.
you're saying it hasn't happened with any other character. It's certainly happening at the minute though with a certain other clown.
It's yeah, it's crazy. It's hard for us to say that because we growing up loving these movies and everything that they've done for us, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, Friday the 13th. It's hard for us to say that Art the Clown and Terrifiers is that, but it is happening, and it's crazy. You know what I mean? It's very surreal, and it's hard to keep denying it because I see it. It is happening, and even Heather Langenkamp, who I had a conversation with, she said her and Robert were talking about what's happening with Art is very, very similar to what was happening with Freddie. It's just happening quicker because it was well into Robert's career. I think it was third or fourth Nightmare, where this had kind of went international. Whereas with Art, it was really the second movie that popped it, and obviously Dave was a lot younger than Rob when this thing popped as well. So it's really interesting, and I guess that goes to show the power of social media kind of
Yeah.
influencing that as well.
Like I don't know if Nightmare on Elm Street came out now, and it still I think would have took off the way it did because of how good the movie was. But the way Art has been blown up everywhere, like cereals now. There's like beakers and stuff, and like popcorn heads and stuff. It's just unreal.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, it's out of this world. There's even I just saw somewhere this morning or yesterday that he's like an advertisement for like a cleaning detergent, like as a joke on like somebody like what cleaner's window or something in LA. I mean, that is just bonkers. That is out of this world.
but it shows how good the movies have been. And right, I know some people take offense to it, but for an indie movie to do what they've done, what yous have done with those, is just unheard of. And like it has to be probably considered that, or the Blair Witch has to be considered probably the two best indie movies that probably have come around.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it's both of them. With done a little differently, but again, it's this age of social media where people can just see an image and talk about it and share it with their friends, and then it kind of just goes exponentially. And it's really crazy. I remember when we did the first Terrifier, it was a few of us just basically making a movie in our backyard. It was all locally. It was a few of us, not many, and Terrifier 2 also, very small crew. And somehow it resonated with audiences. We knew we were making a good film in the sense that like we were pouring our heart and soul into it. We were working very hard. We didn't want to let our small, cult niche fan base down. We were making something that we wanted to see as horror fans. But again, we could have never predicted where this was going to go and how quickly it was going to go and how much it was going to go and how far it was going to go for sure. That still to this day surprises us.
Like I said after I seen Terrifier 2, we done a show on it, me and Carl, and I said then, and I've said on multiple shows, that 2022, was it 22 it came out? Yeah.
Yes.
So 22, maybe into halfway into 23, David was probably the hottest prospect in horror. It was simple as that. Like I know a few directors that have cast him, and he's done parts for them. Mike Pickle done The Dead Place and stuff. And it's great to see him going in and into other movies as well. But the success that Terrifier had, like it ran alongside Halloween Ends in cinemas. And don't get me wrong, like Halloween Ends, I liked it. I was one of the small few that seemed to like it. I know a lot of people hated it, but for used to box, I think it was 12.5 to 15 million. Box office wise was phenomenal to run against that.
Yeah, really. Like I said, we were only supposed to run in theaters for, I think originally it was like a day, and then it was 3 days. It was supposed to be that, and it just kept getting extended, extended, extended. And we were making waves and splashes, and it put us on the map, and people just got what we were trying to do, and that was so cool. And again, we were making this movie as horror fans, wanting to see something that we'd want to see. We were trying not to let our small, and they weren't that small, but much smaller compared to what it is now, base. We didn't want to let them down, and they came out, they turned out, they showed up, and it was because of them they put it over the top, and it kind of made its way into the masses and into more public, I.
And I had the chance there. I met Lauren Rivera in Manchester last year, and what an absolute legend.
So
She just,
cool.
yeah. Unfortunately, she didn't have the gear. The gear got lost or something in customs.
Oh boy.
So the photo op, so it was a shame, but that, like I said, even around that, she's probably the best final girl in at least 20 years.
Oh wow, thank you.
Yeah, like
Davey would love to hear that.
you can tell him, you can quote
I
me on
will.
it.
I'll let him know.
Yeah. Tell him I want to talk to him.
I will
um,
do.
no, she's the best final girl I've seen in easily in 20 years. I think when I done the show, I said that she's the best final girl I've seen um since The Descent, um, which was Neil Marshall's uh, Cave Classic. But like I thought Lauren absolutely smashed it out of the park. Now I will say I did like where it was going in Terrifier 1 with Jenna Kennel, but that obviously doesn't work out quite so well to be the final girl.
Right.
Which actually threw me when I seen the film first. I was like, oh shit. I was like, they're
Yeah.
going all out at it here.
Yeah, and that was again just to show that art is very unpredictable, and he could go any which way, and I think that keeps the audiences on their toes and constantly guessing and knowing that no one is safe.
I think it's a great way to do it because you just don't know what to expect. Like you get slashes, you get Jason, you get Michael. You know they're gonna walk you down. Do you know what I mean? Apart from I think it was Friday 7 when he burst in through the door window.
Yes.
But most of the time he's just gonna walk you down where Art just pops up. Sometimes when he shoots the Ma in the second one, I was like, what the fuck? I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yep.
And it's great to see because there's not many horror films that do it now, which is an actual shame. But the work that Terrifier's done for the indie scene alone has just been second to none. So you should be absolutely proud of everything that's come with it.
And that's what we're most proud of. And you hit it right on the head there, is that, it's great being a part of Terrifier. Like I said, it's one of the highlights of my life and being a part of this franchise. But the thing that we're most proud of is the fact that the success of Terrifier 2 in particular has really opened up so many doors and put so much attention on the indie filmmakers. And if it wasn't for Terrifier 2, Stream wouldn't have had a theatrical run here in the States. And movies like In a Violent Nature or even the Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey stuff, a lot of these movies, Skin and Rake, may not have been, whether you like them or you don't, it doesn't matter. They wouldn't have gotten the attention. They wouldn't have gotten out there, I think, if it wasn't for what happened with Terrifier. And that's something is so cool because there's a lot of filmmakers out there, especially in the horror world, that don't get, the attention because of being horror filmmakers. So it's nice that, indie filmmakers and indie horror filmmakers are able to have that chance and, have a shot at getting into the theaters, have a shot at the masses seeing it, because this industry, it's so tough. And it's even tougher to do it independently, and it's even tougher to do it as a horror filmmaker. So, it's something that I'm truly proud of.
Absolutely, and I think the fact with the success that Terrifier had, getting a name like David Howard Hunt into your movie would always help you get somewhat of a cinematic release. Like obviously you mentioned Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey there. Like we had Craig David Dowsey who played Winnie the Pooh himself on the show a while back. And I'll be doing a Q&A with him now in the next couple of weeks at a con in Ireland here.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, it's going to be a bit of crack, but like that, the media that went with that when that got announced was skyrocketing. Like I would have said that was bigger because of what it was media wise than say Terrifier 2 when it came out. Now completely different type of movies, But the success that Terrifier had gave that the chance that people were like, maybe we should take a punt on this and see.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Like we got
I truly believe that. I do, and and that's what's really cool about it is that it kind of opened the eyes to the industry, and again, both good and bad, because the bad part is now the studios are really zeroing in on independent horror filmmakers, and I don't know if they like it too much that these indie films are popping, but who knows? We'll see what happens.
like, and then with David obviously being David, he got in with another former guest we had on the show, Stephen Lamort, where he done the mean one, and he was phenomenal in that.
It's funny, we just teamed up with Steve Lamore. So I went to high school with Steve.
Oh, did you?
And I did. I went to high school with Steve. A few of us from Fuzz and Lens did. And so he's from New York originally. Now he's out in California. And we just teamed up to do the
Steamboat
Willie. The Steamboat Willie, the Screamboat horror film. And it's fun. It's a little horror comedy. And David's a part of it. And it's going to be a really fun ride. It comes out in theaters in January.
Yeah, I'd seen he put it up all right, and I asked him, I was like, am I going to get to see this in Ireland? And he was like, we'll see. At that stage now, it's been a while since I spoke to him, but he's a really good lad. I like Steve.
Yeah, yeah.
He was getting married not long after we done the show.
Yep, so, now he's married. He's I think he's on his honeymoon, right? His 1 year anniversary right now.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like that long ago we had him on the show, but yeah. But like, there you go. There's a big name that has jumped into a movie with Steve, got into the cinema, ran really well at Christmas time.
Yep.
Obviously, we can't mention why, but like that came from the likes of Terrifier giving David the name. Obviously, David's a phenomenal actor as it is. And then he's going to be in The Dead Place with another former guest on the show, Mike Pickle. Where he's actually not. I don't think he's going to be behind a mask or.
No, I think you see him. It looks like from the marketing, yeah, you're going to see him, and he's got some lines too.
I was like, oh shit, here we go. But like Terrifier has brought everything out, and it's been an absolute phenomenal run, and it's well earned as well. Like, I know there's a lot of people that don't like it because of the type of horror that it is, but I mean, you still have to give it a shot, whether or not you like that kind of horror or not. Like, as I said to you off screen, I'm not a huge gore person, but when I watched Terrifier 1, I was just like, what the fuck is going on here? And then you get that scene in Terrifier 1,
yeah, like,
everybody knows.
Yeah,
and I was like, what is going on here?
Well, it's funny, that's our hope also with Stream, is that what we had done with Stream is like we made it a little less gory than Terrifier, obviously, because it's not Terrifier, it's its own movie. And we tried to get some of those people that, might not necessarily love the gore to kind of dip their feet and get in the pool a little bit, get wet, and then, as a nice introduction to these gory films. And again, don't get me wrong, Extreme is pretty gory, but it's not to the level of Terrifier, so to speak, where it just goes on and on and on. The bleach comes in, the salt comes in, the scalp, you know what I mean? Like the blood and the guts, because that's Art the Clown's way of killing. We wanted to make sure that we separated, both films that we were doing and make them have their own identity. But obviously with Damien doing the effects, it's going to deliver the goods and be gory. But again, I think it's a good one for people who aren't so into the gore to kind of dip their feet, get wet, and experience it, and also have a really cool story to go along with it and some of the other horror tropes. So I'm excited to see how that does when it gets more of a mass release, and goes internationally, and then obviously comes out here digitally in the US for more people to see it, because we were in a very limited run.
Yeah, I know a few people now that got to see it in New York, I think it was, or somewhere like that. I've seen a few people that I know that seen it, and I was like, oh, I'm so sad. Like, I was in the UK as well. Did it release in the UK?
No, it was in Canada, Mexico, and the United States.
It must have been in the States that I've seen it then. But I was like, I'm so sad I live in Ireland. We don't get nothing like that.
Yeah, we're working on the UK, but yeah, Ireland, the UK, everything should be around October 15th, mid-October for sure. It'll be hitting digital streaming, nice. And if it's not that date, it's going to be shortly thereafter. It's all coming together now. Nice.
So at least I don't have to wait. At the time of recording, I don't have to wait much longer anyway.
Yeah, not too much longer.
And you had like, it's not really a spoiler because it got announced kind of around the place that you had like a major guest appearance in the movie
That
of
is
a
correct.
of a certain legendary clown that made his way back to horror
Yeah,
in Tim
yeah.
Curry.
Yep, that was truly amazing. Somebody that I've idolized growing up and always wanted to work with, and blessing got to work with him on stream, and really a great man, and very humble, and his charm still shines through, given everything that he's gone through in his life. And it was really an honor to have him a part of stream, and I think people are pretty happy and satisfied with what we did with him, and we'll see what happens.
That's I remember sitting here and I was flicking through the pages, and next thing you know, popped up that he was in it, and I was like, "Fuck!" I was like, "Now I have to see it even more." Now, bear in mind, with how much I love Terrifier 1 and 2, I would have had to see it anyway. But I was like, now I'm all in. And then, obviously, the more I looked into it, I'd seen Damien's involved, yourselves were involved. I didn't know much about it at the start. I was like, okay, I'm all in.
Cool.
So we're getting to see it hopefully when it drops over here, and I'll be back on to you to tell you what I thought.
I can't wait to hear.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say loved it. That's where I'm going with now. Loved it.
Thank you. Make sure you review it on IMDb.
Oh no, do you know how hard it is to review something on it? I'll do it on Letterboxd.
Letterbox, yes, please. For Letterbox, Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb, any of them, they're all very, very helpful. So definitely when you see it.
I tried to get in to do the IMDb one. It wouldn't let me. I was like, oh, I give up.
Yeah, Letterbox is very helpful for sure.
Yeah. So tell us a bit about yourself then. Obviously, you're an actor. You've been in Terrifier 1.
Correct.
Didn't quite make it to the end.
No. And then I wised up and says, well, now that I'm out acting wise in this franchise, I'm going to stay on board, produce the franchise. And, I became the assistant director of Terrifier 2 and 3. And, really, really fun, really great. Love this franchise, love the people involved. Damien, obviously, Phil Falcone, George Stuber, become one of my closest best friends. So it's nice to get to work with people that you have a lot of fun with. I started off young into this business, I guess, so to speak. I was always interested in acting and filmmaking at a very, very young age. Around 4, I used to take my mom's video cam and shoot short films with my siblings and friends in the neighborhood. And got to high school and continued with it. Kind of went more on the behind the scenes route a little bit. Started shooting skits and short films. Continued that to college, entered festivals. I did a feature, my first feature in 2015 for a movie called Abnormal Attraction. Stars Malcolm McDowell, Gilbert Gottfried, Tyler Mane, Leslie Easterbrook, Ron Jeremy's in it, Jim Hanks, Tom Hanks' brother. It's a fun fairy tale monster creature campy movie. It's basically about a group of individuals who have, they go to this meeting instead of being an Alcoholic Anonymous meeting, they go to an abnormal attraction meeting where they have this obsession with mythical fairy tale creatures, and it's got a cool morality tale to it, but it's bonkers fun. It's crazy. It's out of this world. It's a humorous and really, really campy fun movie.
Abnormal Attraction.
Yeah, you could stream it now. It's pretty much probably on Amazon and Tubi and YouTube and all that stuff that you can stream things on. Definitely check it out. I directed it. I have a small role in it. Again, it's nothing like Terrifier. It's a comedy. Nothing like the Terrifier things. It's a take a shot of whatever your favorite drink is every time you hear a dick joke. I guarantee you'll be drunk in 15 minutes.
I'm all in.
Yeah, it's a fun movie for sure. And let me know what you think.
Nice. I will. I'll get on that one. I've never even heard of it.
Yeah, it's one of those underground. Again, it was before Terrifier. It was real indie. And it's got that campy 80s, early 90s feel. But we had a lot of fun making it, and through that process, I got led into the Terrifier world, and here we are.
Everything snowballed from there.
Yep.
I mean, as long as it keeps going, it's just going to keep going. So I mean, the love for it, unless 3 absolutely tanks, which it most likely won't.
I think it'll be all right.
Yeah, I think so. From early reviews that I've seen, I think it might be okay.
Yeah.
might just do a little bit all right.
Yeah.
Um, but like the worry I had for Terrifier 3 when I heard it was announced was that if a big studio got involved, it'd lose that feel.
Yeah.
Um, and there was the one thing I didn't want, obviously, how big art was getting off 2. And I mean, it's been 2 years now since it came out. Um, I was like, oh, please don't let anyone get involved in it.
Yeah, when Damien fielded the offers, we listened just to hear, but the studios wanted way too much control. They wanted to make it more for a generalized audience, water it down, to an R rating, and or
So
even
that's not what Terrifier is.
no, and they just didn't get it. And Damien had the guts, to turn them down and say, no, this is not what that is. I'll gladly do another movie for you that's that,
Yeah.
but not this. And we were very true to our fan base, and it was great. Doing Terrifier 3 was just like doing Terrifier 2 all over again. Same crew. We added some more people and went right back into it.
Yeah, I seen a few. Obviously, Lauren is back. Elliot Fulham's back. And a certain Hall of Fame bound wrestler is back
Yeah.
in Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
How,
Yeah.
how did you get Jericho? I know he's a huge horror fan as it is.
Yeah, and he was a huge Terrifier fan, and he was talking about it on his podcast for a while, and then
He was, yeah, I seen them.
I don't know if he reached out or Damien reached out or we were just in touch because of just him liking it, and then it somehow worked out. I remember we were at a convention with him and we hit it off, and Damien really hit it off with him, and here he is now. He's part of the Terrifier world.
Yeah, genius. Obviously, I mentioned we were at the For the Love of Horror last year, where it had Lauren, Elliot, and
David.
No, David wasn't there.
Samantha Scafidi.
No, oh, I'm having a mind blank. The girl who sang Clown Cafe.
Oh, Leah Vorsi.
That's the one. Sorry, couldn't think of her name there. Her voice is just phenomenal. But we were listening to a Q&A. She has now, obviously not herself, created. Remember Halloween 3 came out and it had the song that stuck in everyone's head?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what Terrifier 2 just done with Clown Cafe.
You should have seen when we were on set, we couldn't stop singing this song over and over and over, the whole crew. And nobody else in the world, like even if we were doing it in public, let's say, no one would know what the hell it was. And we said, don't worry, it's gonna eat your soul and just live with you forever and haunt your brain very shortly. And that's exactly what it did.
It's real funny because obviously I was at the con and she done the live version of it. And I have we took a video of it for the show, and I had it on at home, and my young fella heard it, and he hasn't heard it since then. And I was flicking through some of the old photos on my phone, and it came on. He started singing. I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "I know you have a good memory and all, pal, but you've heard that once, maybe twice."
Yeah.
I was like, "I really hope to God you haven't seen Terrifier 2."
Yeah, right. It's one of those earworms. It just kind of gets in there and lives.
But
and,
that's a good
thing
from
it.
Because
it is.
It's people will hear that song and go, "What's that from?" Terrifier. All right, well, let's put this on and see.
Yeah.
Overall, you don't really need to see Terrifier 1 to see Terrifier 2, bar understanding where the ending comes from.
Right.
Or the beginning comes from, sorry. But, overall, they're phenomenal movies. Obviously, I can't go too much into stream because I haven't seen it.
Yeah. Well, soon, a couple weeks. And but yeah, I mean, like with Stream, we brought a lot of the same crew over from Terrifier. Damien Leone does all the effects, and we got a great cast: Jeffrey Combs, Danielle Harris, Dee Wallace, Tony Todd, Tim Curry, as you mentioned, Bill Moseley, Dave Sheridan, Felissa Rose, Mark Holt, Tim Reed. There's a huge cast of horror.
I didn't know half of those people were in it.
Yeah, a lot of them. And Terry Alexander from Day of the Dead, and Terry Kaiser from Weekend at Bernie's, Friday the 13th. So we got a really, really awesome big cast. And they all deliver. And what's cool about the movie is they're not just cameos. Obviously some people have smaller roles than others.
Yeah.
But they're all real characters in the film. They're not just one line and gone. They all fit the characters that we had written, and that's kind of these characters existed. And then when it came down to it, it was like, oh, this person would be great, this person would be great, this one would be great. And then before you knew it, you had this ensemble cast. It wasn't originally meant to be that, but again, Damien does all the effects, the gore with Phil. all of our
Man
Terrifier
deserves
crew.
an Oscar.
Yeah, yeah, he does. And all the from everybody, the PAs all the way up to the production supervisor, to myself, Fuzz and the Lens, like everybody, the ACs, the gaffers, like everybody was from either Terrifier 2 or 3, even some from 1, that are all involved in Stream. And we had a really a great time making it, a lot of fun. And it's making its way. It's starting to make its murmur through the horror community. People are talking about the reviews have been really good, so I'm excited to see what this can do once it hits digital.
I mean, like obviously you've got a limited run with it to an extent, which probably would have hurt a little bit considering the pedigree of what's came before it. I know it's not the same movie, but normally when films like that come out off the back of, say, the likes of Terrifier 2, normally they get a bigger run, which I was surprised with.
Yeah,
But
it was also, there was a lot that went into it. We had a small window that we had before the big studios like Beetlejuice, and Afraid, and some of these films came out. So we really only had from the beginning a 2-week window before we went into that. And then, unless you're, a big studio movie or have the legs like Terrifier, and it's tough for the theaters to kind of order those extra because they have to do it beforehand and they base it on pre-sales. And Stream is a very word of mouth kind of movie because even though again it's Terrifier from the production crew and everything it's still not Art the Clown, so it's got to build its own fan base as well. And once we got rolling, a lot of the theaters they did want to pick it up after, but it was too late because then it would skip a week, and now you're in that third week of when you're going up against these big box office films. But a few extended, and we stayed in theaters with them, the ones that were, brave enough to do it beforehand. And like I said, it's been making its rounds. People have really been digging it, which is so awesome, and they're getting it. And I'm really excited to see where it goes because, like I said, the reviews have been out of this world. It's very humbling. I think we gotta hopefully, again, it's up to the fan base to say this, not me, but I think we have another winner on our hands. We can hopefully do a sequel or sequels and start another franchise like Terrifier.
I mean, that would be perfect. Obviously, I can't comment too much because I haven't seen it, but like, you need more. I think we need a few more horror franchises. Obviously, Nightmare on Elm Street is a dead franchise at the minute. 2010 killed it completely.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th had its 2009 one, which was okay. Again, another dead franchise. Texas Chainsaw hasn't had a good movie since 2003, and that one in 2022 was just horrendous. Halloween obviously is the one that 2018, 2021, and 22 or whatever it was were a great trilogy to finish it.
But that was a long time too. That was dead for a while as well. They had the Rob Zombies, and it was silent for a long time.
Yeah.
And then finally, was it 12 years or whatever, it finally came back. And yeah, but you're right. And that's what people, even myself as horror fan, we're yearning for more. Listen, I'll see Halloween 35 and Friday the 13th Part 20 and Nightmare, you know what I mean? Like, I love those films just as much as the next, but we are yearning and we do want more, new, fresh stuff. And that's what I'm, proud to be a part of with Terrifier and hopefully with Stream and anything else that we do. Because again, you can't have enough as a horror fan. We want more. And as a movie lover too, you want more films, you want more things that are creative and fun and unique and different. And, so I'm proud to be a part of this, and hopefully you guys will dig. And when you see it, you'll enjoy what we put out there.
Now, I'll ask you a question, right? So I quite active on social media, and I do be on a lot of the horror posts and stuff. And there was a post that was put up, putting art in that highest echelon, the likes of Freddy Krueger, Jason, Michael, and stuff, right? Now, I'm fairly blunt on this show, and I'll come out straight and say, I don't think he's there just yet. I think the likes of those have, obviously, it's came from the 80s and whatnot, 79 for Halloween, 78, but they've withstood 30 or 40 years. Art has certainly built a legacy off off 3 and a bit movies, give or take. All Hallows Eve were there, and do you see him getting to that level?
If it keeps trending this way, I agree with you. He's not there yet, because again, you need to stand the test of time. and you need more than 2 or 3 movies under your belt, as to become, what they have done, and
Yeah.
that's incredible what those franchises have done. And but I do, again, it's hard to say just because I'm a part of it, and it's very surreal to say, but I do see it trending that way. Um, Again, I don't think he's there yet, but it's on its way, and I see it with the fan base, and it's so cool. And hopefully, it'd be nice to for him to kind of cement himself up there with those guys, because we love them, and we as horror fans, they're the they're it. They're the OG. So we'll see. It's not up to us to say that. It's up to the fan base to kind of deem that. I think it would
No,
be ingenuous if I did.
I was asking that as an actual horror fan. Do you see, like, I can see him getting to that level?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I see him getting there. I agree. He's not there yet, but I do see him, and I think he's trending that way pretty quickly.
Now, I was called quite stupid and a lot of other names when I said that he's not on that level. And I was like, how isn't he on that level? Look at what he's done over 2 movies. And I says, yeah, there's your point. Over 2 movies, not
Right,
9. I says,
right,
if he gets to 8 or 7 or 8, and even if he gets to 4 or 5, and they're all quality,
right.
you're
And I
laughing.
agree. And I agree. That's where it needs to be, in that 4 or 5 range. And if it's still hot, then yeah.
Now, before we finish up, I'm gonna go to the big killing question, right? The the Terrifier 3 trailer dropped, right? And the controversy around it kicked off almost instantly. And I was all for it. All for it.
If there's no controversy, is it really a Terrifier movie?
That's a good point. That's a quotable point right there. I think what happens in that ad now, I don't know how it plays out in the movie because you don't see too much. But if what happens in that ad that's happened in my head happens, it's perfect because you don't see it all that often in films with a certain type of character getting killed, and I'm all for it.
Cool.
The shock
Uh,
factor.
yeah, there's definitely a lot of shock factor. There's definitely going to be a lot of jaw-dropping moments. Probably some things you might expect, and others that you definitely won't. And just coming at a Fantastic Fest last weekend in Austin, Texas, seeing how people responded. I know there was a lot of positive reviews coming out, but people were like, oh my God, I can't believe you guys did this or didn't do that or whatever. Yeah, I'm excited to see what the masses think, and I'm proud of it. Very proud of the film, and I'm excited for it.
Awesome. And then in terms of Fuzz on the lens, is there anything else other than Terrifier and Stream that are in the works at the minute?
Yeah, like we talked a little bit. We got Screamboat coming out in January, and then we'll see kind of where it goes. Obviously, Leavey just announced there will be a Terrifier 4. Um, and obviously, we're looking to hopefully do a Stream 2 as well, but we're keeping options open. There's some other things I want to do that as a company we're talking and discussing. But right now, we're keeping options open to kind of see where everything falls after this Halloween holiday season.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I did see Terrifier 4 was announced, or it popped up that it was announced. I hadn't seen the actual announcement. But yeah, that's just awesome news because now fans have something to want more. We haven't even seen 3 yet, and we already know that the next part's coming.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, let's go. So now you can do what the fuck you want in this one, and I know we're gonna get another one.
Yep. Yep. So it's exciting, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts on both Terrifier 3. Please let me know, and Stream as well.
Loved it, loved it. Quotable.
I love it.
But before we finish up, I'll throw a couple of quick fire questions at you then.
Sure.
What is your favorite type of horror?
It's a mix between slashers and paranormal. I know there's like 2 totally different things, but I obviously love the slashers. I've been making a few, but I'm a real big fan of the Conjuring franchise.
Oh,
And I love Mike Flanagan's Haunting a Hill House, the TV series that was on Netflix. I really enjoyed that.
I tried to finish that twice and I still haven't got there.
Yeah, it just hit for me. I really enjoyed it. So, but yeah, The Conjuring for sure. So those 2 are my favorite.
I only literally rewatched the whole Conjuring franchise with my wife there probably a month and a half ago. Like I'd only ever seen Annabelle 1.
Yeah.
I never watched La Lorna. I never watched The Nun. But
Oh,
I've
you gotta
loved.
watch. Yeah, you gotta watch them.
I loved Conjuring 1 and 2, and
Yeah.
I've actually been to the Enfield house.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's my grandmother used to live about 15 minutes away from there, 20 minutes.
Oh wow.
So yeah, I got to go there once. And then 3, I didn't mind 3 either. But yeah, I went through it. The franchise was great.
Yeah, it
James
is.
Wan's
Quality. Yeah, James Wan's the best, and I'm excited to see the fourth one that's supposedly coming out. So that's exciting.
Well, now I seen on one of the pages someone was actually on the set of it.
Oh really?
So now how true it is, it could be someone trolling, but I've seen someone put pictures up of the car and stuff. So I'm intrigued. I know it's going to be the last one.
Go out with a bang. Go out with a bang.
Yeah. Well, we know they're going to survive because they live till they're like 80. So, yeah. So slasher and paranormal, they're two different ones. If you had to pick a slasher, who would it be?
Depends on the day. I'll probably go with Michael Myers though.
Nice. Nice.
Even though I love Freddy, I'm a big fan of Leprechaun as well. So I do love horror comedy as
I do
well.
like Leprechaun. I haven't seen them in a while. There's my wife Freddy there.
There you go. Freddy's the best. So I mean, yeah, it depends. I think Dream Warriors is one of the greatest, horror films ever made. One of the most fun. So again, it depends on the day.
Yeah, I know. Nightmare on Elm Street was the first horror film I've ever seen that I remember. Anyway, I was 11 and seen it. I snuck down the stairs to my mom's house and watched it.
So cool.
Awesome. Yeah, and it's one of my most memories of watching any movie. It's one of my favorite scenes. You know the scene when he's like this in the alley? Yeah, it's one of my most favorite scenes in movie history.
It's great. It's iconic.
So I know if I was to pick for me, I'd be a creature feature.
All right. All right.
Feature fan.
Do you like Night of the Creeps?
Do you know what? I haven't seen it since I was about 14 or 15. There's just so many.
I know.
Yeah. And I flicked through everything and I'm like, seen this. And then I was like, oh, I haven't seen this. And I'm halfway through it and I'm like, seen this. But yeah, I'm a huge creature feature fan. Huge werewolf fan as well. I don't think we get nearly enough werewolf movies. That's what you should do with Fuzz on the Lens. Do a werewolf movie for me.
There you go. Yeah. Maybe we will.
Make a good one.
Yeah, right. You gotta make a good one.
There's not many of them.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you've seen Viking Wolf. Did you see Viking Wolf?
I have not. No, I have not.
I have to
check it out.
That's right up there. That'd be top 5 for me.
Oh, really? I'll definitely check it out. Viking.
Make sure to watch it with the subtitles rather than the dubbing, though. That didn't work quite so well. And then if you were to pick your top 5 favorite horrors.
No particular order. Halloween 78. Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream Warriors. Stephen King's It, the miniseries original with Tim Curry.
Has to be the original. I would have ended the podcast if you said the new ones.
No, it has to be the original. I like Halloween 3. That's creeping up there. I do enjoy Tom Atkins. Conjuring again for sure. And one more. There's so many. I don't. Missing. Let me think. I know it's not one of my top at all, but it came to my mind. I did enjoy the first Smile that just came out. I just didn't like the ending as much. Yeah, you know what? It Follows.
Mia or Malik, whatever, the girl from Longlegs.
Yeah. I liked.
I don't think I seen that, or if I did, I may have had a few fizzy beverages.
Yeah.
So I might have to go back and rewatch it because a lot of people are saying it to me. I was like, I can't remember it.
Yeah, that was it was different, and I enjoyed it. It was definitely eerie.
Yeah, nice. Obviously, there's a theme to some of those slasher paranormal ones. But what maybe once I get a chance to see Terrifier and stream, we'll have you back on.
Yeah, we can dive more into them both and have some fun.
And if I don't like it, I can push us to the sword. Probably won't happen.
Sounds good.
Probably won't happen. But Michael, thanks very much for taking the time out of your day to come on.
Thank you very much for having me.
We wish you every success. Obviously, I don't think we need to wish you because it's going to happen. But with Stream obviously in out now, and with Streaming coming out, and then Terrifier, and then with Steamboat when that drops in January.
Thank you.
No doubt I'll have to get on to Stephen again to get him back on when that's finished.
Yes, and thank you very much. It means a lot to have your support, and I had fun. Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely, and as it says, you're welcome back anytime, even if it's not about one of your own movies. If you want to come back on and chat horror,
awesome. Sounds good.
But what we'll do, folks, is I'll finish this the way I finish every single Friday night. In the words of the great George A. Romero, ladies and gentlemen, stay scared.
Woo!